just to set the table here. You come in, you've beaten Deshaun Watson and Daniel Jones the last 2 weeks. There are plenty of people that are looking at this team and saying, wait till you get to Cincinnati, myself included. I was a little bit worried about this game because of the matchups, and T. Higgins didn't play. That was a big deal, right? Mm-hmm. But you think about the Eagles. When's the last time the Eagles went on the road and won a big game?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I guess it was Kansas City last year.
Yeah.
And of course the slide kind of started with Nick John at the fans leaving Arrowhead. But I think you look at this game and you say, okay, if you don't believe in the Eagles, you just beat Jones and Watson, big whoop. Haven't won on the road in a while. Jalen Hurts, I read a statistic that he was like damn near undefeated to the under on the road in the last calendar year or something like that. And to me, that didn't bode well because I thought the points were going to come from Cincinnati. But I'll tell you what, over the last 2 weeks, they ran the ball 81 times. I don't think that's a typo. That's what I have here, 81 times the past 2 weeks. Drive one, they come out and they do more of the same, only this time they do it early in the game. And that's what we've been asking for. Mm-hmm. Didn't we ask for that last week? We asked for it last week.
Yep.
From my lips to God's ear, or maybe Dom's ear.
Yep. Maybe
Dom's listening to the program and he's like, yo, Nick, the numbers are here. But I mean, it really is on TD drives for the Eagles this year. Eagles 56% run, 44% pass. On punts, 41% run, 59% pass. Okay, weeks 1 through 6, 44-56 run pass split, 21 points a game. Week 7 to 8, 63-37 run pass with 32 points a game. And of course, I could round up to 33, do the math thing, but I won't. Okay, it's 32.5. Okay, it doesn't have to be sexy. It wasn't sexy yesterday. It was just a commitment. The sexiest thing in the world to me is committing to running the ball. That gets me. That is.
Are you like
that's
Nate?
my
Do you have
king.
a chub?
That's my king. You know what I mean? Over 60 minutes. Hey, I don't care if it's 3 yards a pop. I don't care if it's 4 yards a pop, because eventually those 3-4 yard gains in the fourth quarter with Saquon Barkley turn into 19, 20 behind Dickerson, or a big run that puts him down on the 1 yard line to ice the thing late, where he gets on the perimeter, stiff arms a guy, runs through a guy, tiptoes for 30 feet down the sideline. Those moments are why you went out and got this guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is special. He really is special. And he seems to be a special teammate and the type of guy that when you're feeding this dude, nobody in the offense is going to say, why aren't I getting the ball? Mm-hmm. That's Saquon Barkley. That's the great thing about having a great back. Nobody outside is like, why are we giving the ball to this guy? Okay, that's Saquon Barkley. Last time I checked, he's the most accomplished offensive player on the field. Okay, so I think I think it was just a great step in the right direction, and I think they committed more people to the protection in general. They simplified things, and from a pass pro standpoint, Fred Johnson, who I said this week, that's going to be the matchup of the game. Fred Johnson, guy who coming in for Jordan Mailata has got to deal with Trey Hendrickson, who's a really tough rusher. Now, Fred Johnson spent time in Cincinnati, I believe, so just to have a little background and knowing what this guy's about, but only giving up one pressure, not my wildest dreams. That was a great job. And I think when we talk about Jalen in the second half, 9 for 9 for 150, 16.7 yards per attempt, 155 rating, 2 touchdowns in the second half, scored on all 5 possessions. That's MVP caliber play. And you didn't have to ask him to do that much. He threw the ball 9 times. Okay, since the bye, 42 of 59 for 614 and 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Somebody fact check me on that, because I almost can't believe it. I mean, this is efficiency. And so I would ask the Eagles to look halfway across the country at the Detroit Lions and say, what are they asking? Now, Jared's playing really well, and he's hitting some big throws over the middle of the field. And when he stands in the pocket, I said this last week, he is elite when it comes to throwing over the middle of the field, standing in there, delivering. But they don't ask him to do it 30 times a game. When things are right, they ask him to do it about 20 times a game. And so does that rain on your parade if your high-priced quarterback isn't throwing the ball 25, 30 times a game? You have to get real comfy with winning this way. because this is who your team is. If I'm the football coach of this team, I'm asking who my best players are. Yeah, A.J. Brown's great. Devontae's great when it's time to go play action in the second half and take your shots. That one drive's a thing of beauty. I'm not saying go away from the shots, but what I am saying is to get to those shots, you soften people up with the run game.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe it goes that way, not the other way.
Yep.
You know, as a rusher, you know, I used to think about power opens up speed, you know, and it's not the same thing, but it kind of reminds me of the way the Eagles need to operate is power is going to open up speed for them. And I think Jalen Hurts looking at Detroit and Nick Sirianni looking at Detroit, we're not going to get to things the same way. We don't run all the same concepts. The players are different, but the emphasis on physicality and minimizing the superhuman things we're asking the quarterback to do, that is the way to go. And Jalen looks fresher. He really does. Running away from Myles Murphy down the red zone, he looked like he had a little bit of spark back. But I've spent enough time talking about the offense, guys. I want to talk about defense. They were shredded early in this game. Slay playing through the ball in the red zone on Burton ended up being basically the first time they got off the field. And thank God they did, because going down 14-3 or 14-0 or whatever it would have been hell for this team on the road. The big plays, man. The big plays. BG, our guy, on 3rd and 1, along with Nakobe Dean, and I think Milton Williams, who built a wall with him. But then on 4th and 1, the play of the game, Cooper DeJean, who ever since they put him in the lineup for Maddox, I mean, think of where this team might have been on defense if he'd have started the season out, okay? This is the defense fully formed because now you've got a slot corner who can do things like on 4th and 1, hang in there with Jamar Chase. The motion starts the play. He effectively ran with a pivot route pre-snap and then fired on the flat. And it was a sure tackle.
Impressive thing. Yeah, that was impressive as hell. I mean, he's a great athlete. Like, we know that. But for him to sift through the trash on that too, you know what I mean? Like, they're running that route to try to pick him a little bit. And he matched him so well pre-snap that like, he wasn't even affected by it. And that's a small thing, dude. But when you're a rookie that doesn't have, like, you're coming back from an injury, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have a ton of in-game experience. Dude, that's fucking massive. That was a huge play.
But it's massive. It's
Great White Hope, baby. That's our guy, Chris. That is our fucking guy.
I did not think it was possible. Of course, they stuck him in the slot. Not really an outside corner. But that's what Riley Moss is for.
Right.
But I just look at that situation and I'm saying 3rd down, your 36-year-old dude makes a play. And then 4th down, your 23-year-old, 22-year-old dude makes a play. Okay? And it's the same thing with the pick, Rodgers, deflecting the ball to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. It's a young guy and a veteran making a play. The youth and the vets, man, when those guys are both guys you can depend on a defense, that's great. I thought Nolan Smith played great. Nolan Smith was a sack. I've loved the way he set the edge all year long. The Georgia guys are playing better. Nakobe Dean really doing a great job filling in the run game. Really active. They like to send him a lot on early downs. They got in a little trouble doing that, but I like them being a little bit more aggressive. And then Quinyon, and I got to look at I got to really watch the All-22 and look at the numbers to see if he was really lined up with Jamar Chase alone most of the game, but he was locked down, as far as the game went. And Quinyon Mitchell, he was really seatbelt. It was seatbelt status. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are two guys that weren't on the team last year. So credit to Howie Roseman. Nail those guys in the draft, and a big credit to Nick Sirianni, man. Okay? Listen, I'm passionate about this team. I'm going to give it to the coach when the coach doesn't do a good enough job. But I got to tell you, over the last 2 weeks, embracing their identity, kicking New York's ass in a division game, then going on the road, getting his team ready to play. In the second half, that first drive was methodical, okay? And the second drive of the second half was bombs over Baghdad. And it was like, we can win different ways, and we've got a game plan, and I'm going to have him ready to play. Good challenge flag. He was the guy. He was Johnny on the spot, ran all the way down the sideline to tell, who was it, that Rodgers, that he actually caused the pick. Guy didn't even know. He's mugging the crowd, but he doesn't know it's a pick. Nick Sirianni was all over it, and he just coaches with a lot of emotion. And if you can focus on your players, right? We love the emotion when it's focused on the players. It's just the extracurricular shit. And so this was a big moment for the team, but also for Nick coming out since he cut his damn hair.
You have to change your theory. 3-0 since
3-0
since the ball.
3-0. Well, usually it's something bad, but
That's
maybe
what I'm saying. Do you have to change it to
no, because and this isn't me justifying the theory,
just fresh?
but sometimes if your back's against the wall, you got a choice. You're either going to fix it or you're not. And I think that the haircutting was a back against the wall moment. He wasn't doing good. Boy, thank God they won that Cleveland game because things would be a lot worse now. 3-0. I got to give the guys credit.